Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnana Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are discussing the pastimes of Krishna which he is performing in Mathura. Last time we discussed that Krishna he sent Uddhava to Vrindavan with a message for all Brajvasis, for Nand Maharaj, for Yashoda Mai, and all the gopis. And we discussed the beautiful Brahmara Gita, how Srimati Radharani, just by looking at a bumblebee, she started thinking that this is a messenger of Krishna, and she started talking in so many different ways. And then Uddhava, he spoke the message which Krishna had given for all of them. And the gopis, they were not interested in Brahmagyan because they were experiencing the highest ecstasy of love, prema. So in this way, Uddhava, he spent many months there in Vrindavan, and he was all the time discussing beautiful pastimes of Krishna and giving pleasure to all the Brajvasis. So after spending so many months, ultimately he realized, from then onwards, in the beginning, when he met gopis, he realized the supreme position of the gopis. And before returning, he glorified the gopis in the choicest of the verses. वन्दे नन्दव्रजस्त्रीणां पादरेणुम् अभीक्ष्णशः यासां हरिकथोद्गीतं पुनाति भुवनत्रयम्. When the gopis they sing the beautiful pastimes of Krishna, that pastimes glorify and purify the whole universe. And in this way, Uddhava he returned back, narrated everything to Krishna, Ugrasena, Balram, and all the other Yadavas. So that's what we discuss. So today we'll be discussing the 48th chapter, which is entitled Krishna Pleases His Devotees. So Shukdev Goswami he continues the discussion. He tells that Krishna, after he heard and very nicely assimilated Uddhava's report about Vrindavan, Krishna is the supreme Lord. He is the supreme omniscient personality. He knows the desires of all the living entities. So therefore, he remembered the desire of Trivakra or Kubja. When Krishna he had entered Mathura, Kubja, she was a beautiful lady, but she was hunchbacked, and she very boldly gave various wonderful ointments to Krishna and Balram, and she pleased Krishna and Balram. In response to that offering, Krishna he made Trivakra very beautiful, straightened her, you know, and Trivakra, she started exhibiting lusty desires, and she told Krishna, "You please come to my home." Krishna at that time he had uh, given assurance, given his promise that I will come back after I finish my work, I'll come back to you. So now Krishna remembered that desire of Trivakra. So the word used is Atha Vigyaya Bhagwan. So although Krishna who is supreme omniscient Lord, but when he is acting in this material world, he performed pastimes like an ordinary person. And he heard all the reports from Uddhava as if he did not know anything. So therefore, now Krishna wanted to bless Trivakra because Trivakra she was suffering from material lusty desires, and Krishna does not like his devotees to be affected by material desires. So therefore, Krishna wanted to purify Trivakra, and with that intention, he went to the home of Trivakra along with Uddhava. So Trivakra's home, it was very opulently, decorated with so many of the different things, and so many pictures were there, sensually exciting, triggering the sensual desires. It had all the paraphernalia suitable for enjoyment. And it is described by Sridhar Swami that it was it was very obvious that Trivakra's intention was to enjoy the physical association of Krishna. But Krishna is such a supreme Lord, such a wonderful Lord, that he purifies the desires of his devotees. If the devotees are not getting affected by lusty desires just by chanting the names of Krishna, how can Krishna get affected by all this display of lust? We know the Haridas Thakur story when Maya Devi herself came, when the prostitute came. Haridas Thakur was not at all disturbed. Krishne nama Vishtamana sada Haridas Aranye rodit hoila stri bhava prakash. All the feminine beauty of Maya Devi, it was like crying in wilderness for Haridas Thakur because he was absorbed in Krishna Nam. So anybody who is absorbed in Krishna Nam can go beyond the ordinary mundane sexual desires. How can Krishna get affected by lusty desires? So therefore this is very important to understand before we hear this story. That throughout this story, Krishna never got affected because it is described in the first canto that all the queens they were trying to attract the attention of Krishna by their feminine gestures and by their coyly smiles and glances, but Krishna was not getting disturbed. Uddama bhava pishunama level guhasa व्रीडावलोकनिहतो मदनोऽपि सम्मुह्य चापमजहात् प्रमदोत्तमास्ता यस्येन्द्रियै विमथितुं कुहकै शेकु. So the ladies, the queens of Mathura, Dwarka, they were showing so many, various gestures, but Krishna was not getting affected. So therefore, the only intention of Krishna going to the home of Trivakra was Krishna wanted to deliver Trivakra. Why Krishna wanted that? Because he was pleased by the simple offering. Only credit Trivakra had was she gave ointments. Without any hesitation, without fear of Kamsa, she gave ointments to Krishna and Balram. So when Trivakra she saw that Krishna is coming with Uddhava, she immediately got up from her bed, came out and welcomed Krishna very nicely, and he gave Krishna a very excellent seat. Uddhava was also given a seat, on a same level with Krishna, but Uddhava being a servant of Krishna, he did not accept that. He did not want to sit in the same level as Krishna. So what he did, he just touched that seat with his hand and he sat on the floor. So that was the devotion of Uddhava. And then, you know, Trivakra, when he saw now Krishna, when she saw that Krishna had come, so she went inside and took bath and decorated herself very beautifully with all the ornaments and the ointments and fragrant oils. And in this way, she came out shyly, and glancing at Krishna. So Krishna, he wanted to give mercy to Trivakra. He pulled her and he showed mercy to her. The only piety she had was she had offered the ointment. That was the only piety she had. You know. So then Shukdev Goswami continues that when Krishna he pulled Trivakra near him just by smelling the fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna, Trivakra completely got purified. She got purified of the effect of Cupid. And in this way, embracing Krishna's feet, she gave up all the lusty desires and she got completely pacified. Sridhar Swami describes that at this point, she was a liberated soul. She was a pure devotee. She was a liberated soul. There was no tinge of lust now in the mind of Trivakra. So Kubja, in this way, she is requesting Krishna now. After receiving the mercy of Krishna, you know, and Krishna, who is so very hard to obtain, he's a supreme Lord. And just by offering simple ointments, Kubja had pleased the supreme Lord. And therefore, Trivakra, she submitted her desire to that personality who is Kaivalya Nath, who is a giver of liberation. So Chakravarti Thakur describes that, you know what she desired? She wanted that Lord should stay with her only, but it was not possible for Krishna. So therefore, you know, Trivakra is described as unfortunate. She was Durbhaga because she had a desire which Krishna could not fulfill. You know, that was her misfortune. So in this way, Trivakra said, "O my beloved Lord, please stay here for a few days and satisfy my desires. And I cannot bear separation from you. Please stay with me." And there is a story about Trivakra, which is described by Jiva Goswami. Who was Trivakra? It was described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Who was Trivakra and how she achieved such mercy of Krishna? It is described in Mathura Harivamsha. In the last life, Kubja was a princess. And one day, Narad Muni, he went to the palace of this princess' father, and he was glorifying the supreme personality of Godhead. So the father, he said, he requested Narada that, please arrange for a good husband for my daughter. So Narad told, okay, I'll ask your daughter only what kind of husband she wants, and then I'll do the needful. So Narad Muni, he went and asked this princess. So this princess, she said, you are describing a person, you glorified that supreme personality of Godhead. I want him as my servant. Narad Muni said, impossible. It is not possible for you to marry the Supreme Lord. But she was very, very determined. She said, I'll marry him only even if I have to wait for millions of births. Please tell me how I can get Krishna. So Narad Muni, being merciful on that princess, he gave the right method of worshipping Krishna. And in this way, this lady, she worshipped the Supreme Lord for a long, long time. And then a voice appeared from the sky and said, "Oh lady, in your next life, you'll be born as a hunchbacked Kubja. And you'll give me ointments, and by my touch, you'll become beautiful. That time, I'll become your husband." So that is the story. But then Chakravarti Thakur writes that this may be the story from a different day of Brahma. Different kalp ka story ho sakta hai, very standard explanation many time given. So he is not sure whether it is this Kubja story or this Kalpa story or previous Kalpa story. So in this way, Kubja was requesting Krishna, please stay with me for some time and give me pleasure. So Krishna, he promised her to fulfill her desires, and he returned back with Uddhava. He did not stay. He purified this Trivakra of all the lusty desires and made her into pure devotee. That is the power of touch of Krishna consciousness. Anybody who comes in touch with Krishna, ultimately it is Krishna's responsibility to purify the devotee. Krishna kohe ama bhaje mage vishay sukh amrit chhadi vish mage ei bada murkh ami vigyai murkh vishay ke na diva swacharnamrit diya vishay bhulaiba. If a devotee goes to Krishna and asks for some material benefits, Krishna says, oh, he's a fool. He is doing my bhajan and he is wanting some sense gratification. No, 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 no. I will not give him sense gratification. He is foolish. I am intelligent. Ami Vigyai Murka Vishay Kena Diba. I will not give him sense gratification. What will I give? Swacharnamrit Diya Vishay Bhulaiba. I'll give him the nectar of my lotus feet. I'll give him the nectar of Krishna consciousness. Anybody who receives this nectar of Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Rasa Amrita, he gives up all the other desires. As gopis were telling, Are many people have become beggars. Just by hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, many have given up their wretched families and they have themselves become wretched and they are wandering like beggars in Vrindavan. That's the power of Krishna Katha. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजितः जनयति आशु vairagyam jnanam chayat ahetukam. Vairagya automatically develops in a devotee. So therefore, that is the glory of Trivakra. She became a pure devotee. Duraradhyam samaradhya Vishnum sarveshwareshwaram yo vrinite manograhyam asatvat kumanishyasau. Supreme Lord, who is Sarveshwareshwara, Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is the Lord of all the Lords, he is Duraradhyam. Ordinarily, he is very difficult to approach, but Samaradhyam, one who worships him properly with devotion, Yo Vrinite Manograhyam. Although, if somebody is worshipping the Supreme Lord, and you know what he's asking? He's asking for mundane material desires of this world. He is certainly a man of poor intelligence. Asatvat kumanishi asau. He is a kumanishi. He does not have proper intelligence. That's why it is described Krishna bhaje, Jai Krishna bhaje sei bada chatur. You know, that person who worships Krishna, he is a very, very intelligent personality. It is described by the Acharyas and the disciples of Prabhupada in the purport there. This pastime of Trivakra can be understood at two levels. One way to understand this is Trivakra, she was a liberated soul and she was assisting Krishna in his pastimes. That was one reason. But the other way we can learn and see this pastime is we should know when we are approaching Krishna what not to ask. When we are approaching Krishna, we should have pure desires. And if we don't have pure desires, we should pray for pure desires. We may have some material desires in our mind. We may ask Krishna, oh Lord, please give me, the things of the world. But at the end of our prayer, we should also add this line. We should ask, oh Krishna, I don't know what to pray. That's why I'm asking these things. Please give me intelligence so that I can ask for the right things. So therefore, Trivakra, she represents a person who is approaching Krishna with a wrong intention. But still, Krishna is so very merciful, he purified Trivakra's desires. So such examples, when they are given in scriptures, they are for us to learn. Arjuna himself, he was getting bewildered in the beginning of battle in the Kurukshetra. And through Arjuna, Krishna was teaching all of us. Through Trivakra, Krishna is teaching all of us when we are approaching him what to ask. So then, after satisfying Trivakra, one more devotee had requested Krishna to come to his place, and that was Akrura. When Krishna was about to enter Mathura, Akrura said, "Please come to my home along with Balram. My home will become pure, purified." That time Krishna said, he told Akrura that now it is not the right time. I will come in future, you don't worry. So therefore, Shukdev Goswami is combining these two pastimes together because both are related. Krishna is fulfilling the desires of his devotees. First, he fulfilled the desire of Kubja, and now he is going to fulfill the desire of Akrura. So therefore, he went with Balram and Uddhava. Why he went with Balram and Uddhava? Because that time Balram and Krishna both were there, and Krishna had given his words. We both will come to your place. Don't worry. And also Balram had given words to Mother Yashoda. I will always protect Krishna. So therefore he was always there with Krishna. And regarding Uddhava, Uddhava was the constant companion of Krishna, and he was the best of the ministers. And Krishna would depend on the advice of Uddhava. Uddhava in the third canto, he remembers that it is so very astonishing that Krishna, he would ask me for advice. He is all knowing, he's omniscient Lord, and he's asking me for advice. So that's how Krishna is. So when Krishna, Balram, and Uddhava they all came to Akrura's place. Akrura, he became so very joyful, he immediately got up. In great joy, he embraced and greeted them, and he made them sit properly, and Krishna and Balram also reciprocated accordingly. Akrura, he started worshipping Krishna and Balram according to the principles given in the scriptures. And then first of all, Akrura, he washed the feet of Krishna and Balram. He sprinkled the water on his head, and then he gave all the gifts. He presented so many of the wonderful paraphernalia. He offered garlands, sandalwood paste, and so many other offerings to Krishna. Personally, he started massaging the feet of Krishna and Balram, and in this way he started offering prayers. He said, "It is good that Kamsa has been killed along with his followers, and you have protected the dynasty of Yadus. You are not an ordinary personality, you are the supreme person, and you have appeared in this world to establish the principles of Dharma. You are the supreme cause of all causes, you are the creator, you are the maintainer, you are the destroyer of the entire universe. You create the universes and enter into them and maintain them. Anybody, when he hears from authorities, then only he can conceive and perceive your presence." So it is very interesting. Bhagavatam is such a nigama kalpataro galitam phalam. You know, so Shukdev Goswami is speaking Bhagavatam in such a beautiful way. It is a blend of beautiful, heartfelt, emotional discussions and the dealings between Krishna and devotees, and at the same time, it is full of philosophical discussions. So, therefore, Shukdev Goswami is a very refined speaker. He is giving a blend of both. If only Krishna Katha, the pastimes are going on, it may look great and nice to hear, but if we don't hear the philosophical understanding behind these pastimes, we may become just the sentimental followers. And Shukdev Goswami does not want us to become a sentimental follower. So, therefore, whenever there is sweet, emotional pastime going on, Shukdev Goswami makes sure that there is philosophical discussion also. Last time we discussed how when Uddhava came, he gave such a wonderful philosophical knowledge. And now Akrura is offering such beautiful prayers full of philosophical understanding about the personality of Supreme Lord. So therefore he is saying, just as Mother Earth. Earth enters all the species, all the living entities, bodies are made of earth. Similarly, you also enter in all the universes and maintain them. You are creating all this universe. You are maintaining them. You are destroying. But you are not getting affected by all that. You are transcendental. You are beyond the modes. You are never bound by ignorance. देहाद्युपादेर अनु अनिरूपितत्वाद् भवो न साक्षान्न भिदात्मनः स्यात् अतो न बन्धस्तव नैव मोक्ष स्यातां निकामस्त्वयि विवेकः. He says, since it has never been demonstrated that you are covered by the bodily designations, you are beyond bodily designations, dehadi, upadhi. You are not affected by the designations of the world, anirupitatvat. You are not affected by any of the bodily designations. Bhavona sakshat. And therefore it must be concluded that you are, neither taking birth like ordinary people in the world, and nor you are affected by any duality of the world. Therefore, because you are not taking birth, you are not affected by the duality. So therefore, you are not bound by the things of this world. You never have to undergo the bondage and liberation in this world. You know why you appear? You appear only to fulfill the desires of your devotees. And you appear for one more reason. When you appear in a material form, in a form which is covered by a human form, two reasons are there for your appearance. First, you want your devotees to reciprocate with you. When Mother Yashoda, she sees a small child, her small child, she likes to take care of you, she likes to feed you, and in this way she likes to reciprocate with you. That is the reason you appear, because you become dependent on your devotees. Aham bhakt paradhino nahi aswatantra iva dvija sadhuvir gastridaya bhaktair bhakta janapriya. Lord Vishnu is himself telling to Durvasa Muni, I am not independent. Aswatantra, I am not independent. Aham bhakt paradhina. But I am dependent on my devotees. That's why I am doing everything. That's why I appear in this world, so that the devotees can reciprocate. Second reason you appear in this world, and people they perceive you as an ordinary material mortal man, because they are ignorant. They lack discrimination. As Krishna tells, avajananti mam mudha. Foolish people, they do not understand me when I appear in the human form. But you are the establisher of the path which is described in the Vedas. Because you are the compiler of the Vedas, you know the Vedas, and that's why you have established the path for the benefit of common people. Vedesha sarvai rahameva vedyo. And therefore, you know, you are never obstructed by any of the material things of this material world. You are the same personality who appear in many ages. You appear in so many different forms just to annihilate the kings, sinful kings who are the burden on the earth. Today, my home has become fortunate because you have come along with Balram. You are the embodiment of all the ancestors, forefathers, creatures, human beings, sages. You are embodiment of all those personalities. And water that has washed your feet, it purifies the entire universe. Therefore, I have become so very fortunate कः पंडितस्त्वदतपरं शरणं समीयात् भक्त प्रियादृत गिरा सुहृदा कृतज्ञात् सर्वान् ददाति सुहृदो भजतो भिकामान् आत्मानम उपचयापचयो न यस्य. You are so very merciful. What learned person would approach anybody else? अरे कौन जाएगा किसी और के पास? Who will go to any other personality leaving you, O my Lord? Any intelligent person will not do it because you are Bhakta Priya. You are affectionate to your devotees. You are Kritagya. You are always grateful. Whatever little your devotee is doing, you never forget that. You are Ritagira. You are true to your words. You gave words to me and you have come to my home. You are Kritagya. You are so very grateful. As Sudama is telling, Kinchit karoti uru api yat swadattam surit kritam falgu api bhurikari मयोपनीतं पृथुकैकमुष्टिं प्रत्याग्रहीता प्रीतियुतो महात्मा. Supreme Lord is such a great personality. Even if he does everything for his devotee, you know what is he thinking? किंचित करोति, अरे थोड़ा सा ही किया मैंने. Uruapi, अरे even if he gives everything, he thinks I have given very little. Surit kritam falgu api bhuri kari. And if the devotee gives little bit, he thinks, wow, my devotee has given so much. What is the example? Are I brought just few palmfuls of chipped rice. Mayopanitam pritukaika mushtim. Ek mushti. I brought only one handful of chipped rice. And he accepted it in such a grateful way. So therefore, Akrura is thinking, Are, who is that personality who will not come to you, O my Lord? Those who worship you with sincere heart, you reward everything they desire. Abhikaman, whatever the devotees desire, you give them. In fact, you give yourself to your devotees. What else is remaining? You are such a great, wonderful Lord. You give everything. So therefore, it is very important. Jiva Goswami writes that one should surrender to you. Akrura is telling, one should surrender to you only because you are famous for your affection. Are, you gave affection and mercy to Putana, who came to kill you. Putana lokabalagni rakshasi rudhirasana jigham sayapi haraye stanam datva prasadgatim. She got the highest destination. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigham sayapyayadapya sadhavi लेभे गतिम धात्री उचितम ततोन्यम कम वा दयालुम शरणम ब्रजेमा. Arey, that Baki, the sister of Bakasur, she came with poison smeared on her breasts to kill you, and you gave her the position of Dhatri in the spiritual world. Arey, Kamava Dayalu, who can be more merciful to be taken shelter of? So Akrura is telling everybody should surrender to you only, O my Lord. Because even though you may be absorbed in your dealings with the great devotees, highest devotees, you don't forget insignificant new devotees. Just by your desires, everything is accomplished. So therefore, he is so very grateful. Even if a person assists you indirectly, you never forget that person. Who can be more wonderful to surrender to? You know. So that is the Supreme Lord. He is so very merciful, he is so very grateful, he never forgets whatever anybody does for him. And if somebody worships him, then he gives everything to that personality. He becomes dependent on that person. He becomes dependent on his devotees. Aham bhakta paradhina. He becomes controlled by devotees. Just like the gopis. They would just show some sweet and they would tell, oh Krishna, if you dance, I will give you this. Krishna becomes dependent on the devotees. So that's how Akrura is glorifying, saying, it is our great fortune, O my Lord Janardhan, that now you have come, you have appeared in our house. Even the great masters of yoga, they are not able to achieve such fortune. Even devatas are not having such fortune. And now you have appeared. So please cut off all the ropes of illusory attachment to my family, children, wealth, wife, friends. Please cut off all the attachments. And then, in response to all the beautiful prayers which are offered by Akrura, Krishna, he started glorifying Akrura. Whenever Krishna speaks, his words are so very charming, so very attractive, so very soothing. And with his words, he started glorifying Akrura. He said, "Oh Akrura, you are our spiritual master. You are our uncle. You are our friend. And we are like your sons. We are dependent on you for your protection, for our sustenance. You are showing so much compassion. Bhavadvidha Mahabhaga Nishevya Artha Sattamaha Shreyaskamaya Nibri Satyam Deva Swarthana Sadhavaha Bhavadvidha Mahabhaga. O Akrura, O most fortunate one, you are so very exalted. Nishevya Artha Sattama Arha Sattamaha. Actually, you are the true object of service. You are the most worshipable superior. Shreya Kamer Nribhi Nityam. People who desire highest good in their life, they should worship personalities like you. Demigods, Deva Swartha. They are Swarthi. They are selfish. Devatas, they don't give anything selflessly. But saintly personalities like you are selfless. So therefore, Krishna is emphasizing how serving devotees is a greatest advancement for a personality. And then he says, Jiva Goswami writes that Devtas, they give meager results and they have some personal motive in that. They want something in return. If you worship them, then only they'll give. Otherwise, they will not give. But devotees, they are having no personal desires. Titikshava, Karunika, Surida, Sarvadehinam, Ajata Shatrava Shanta, Sadhava, Sadhu Bhushana. Devotees are Titikshava, they are tolerant, compassionate, friends to everyone. They are having no enemies. So that's how the devotees are so very glorious. Nahi ammayani tirthani na devami shrilamaya te punantyurukalena darshana deva sadhava. This verse comes many times in Bhagavatam with some alterations. Even Lord Shiva is telling about Markandeya Muni the same thing. Nahi ammayani tirthani na deva chetano jita te punantyurukalena yuyam darshana matrataha. Krishna is telling, the holy places, the holy rivers, they purify. The deity worship also purifies, but they purify after a long time. You purify just by darshan. Just by darshan, a devotee purifies. Darshane pavitra karo ai tomar gun. So after glorifying Akrura, Krishna is telling, O Akrura, please go to Hastinapur. Krishna is always thinking about his devotees. He's telling, please go to Akrura, Hastinapur, and please find out about the well-being of Pandavas. Pandavas, they have lost their father, and we came to know that now they have come back along with their mother, who is so very disturbed, And now they are living in the city under the shelter of Dhritarashtra. But that weak minded Dhritarashtra is always thinking of he's always influenced by his wicked sons. And therefore, the blind king is not treating the sons of his brother properly. Please go and see whether Dhritarashtra is taking care of Pandavas properly or not. Otherwise, we will make some arrangement for helping them. So, after getting all these instructions from Krishna, immediately Akrura he started for Hastinapur, and Krishna, Uddhava, and Balram they returned back to their palace. So, the 49th chapter, which is entitled Akrura's Mission in Hastinapur. So, Shukdev Goswami continues. Akrura, when he went to Hastinapur, he saw all the very, very distinguished and powerful Kuru elders. He met all of them. He met Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Vidura, Kunti. He's met with Duryodhan, Ashwathama, and all the other Kauravas, Kripacharya, Karna. He met Pandavas also. And all these Kuru members, they welcomed Akrura very nicely, and they asked about Akrura's welfare, and Akrura also asked about all of their welfare. So Akrura had come with a purpose. He wanted to know the intentions of Dhritarashtra. And it is not possible to know the intentions in a day or two. Akrura, he remained several months in Hastinapur, trying to scrutinize the conduct of the king, trying to see how king is behaving with Pandavas, how he is manipulating various things. So as now Akrura had come, so Kunti and Vidura they met Akrura confidentially, and they revealed everything. They told about all the evil intentions of Dhritarashtra, and they told how Dhritarashtra could not tolerate the great quality of her sons, Kunti's sons. All the Pandavas, they were so very virtuous. They were having all the qualities. They were so very powerful. They had such powerful, the wonderful military strength. At the same time, they had wonderful character. They were very, very humble. And all the citizens, they liked Pandavas very much. And because of all these things, Dhritarashtra was not happy. He was planning so many ways. And Vidura and Kunti told that, actually, sons of Dhritarashtra, they tried to poison Pandavas also. So then Kunti Maharani, when she saw that now Akrura has come, Akrura was her brother. So taking advantage of this visit, Kunti Maharani and Vidura, they met him. And Kunti Maharani, she remembered her birthplace, and she started speaking and offering prayers to the Supreme Lord in a very, very, with a very, very sorrowful heart. She said, "Oh gentle Akrura, do my parents, my brothers, my sisters, do they remember us? You know, and does Krishna remember us? Does Balram remember us? We are living here like a doe which is surrounded by wolves. We are in such predicament. Will Krishna come to give solace to all of us?" In this way, Kunti is offering her heartfelt, you know, prayers to Krishna. She started praying. She said, "Now I am suffering helplessly. Will Krishna come? Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Vishwatman Vishwabhavana Prapannam Pahi Govinda Shishubheschavasidatim." O Krishna, Krishna, you are the supreme yogi. Vishwatman, you are the soul of entire universe. You are Vishwabhavan, you are the protector of the universe. We have surrendered to you, O Govinda. Prapannam Pahi, please protect us. Please protect me along with my sons. We are overwhelmed by the troubles. We hear in the first canto, Kunti Maharani is praying, Vipada Santuta Shashwat Tatra Tatra Jagat Kuro Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyada Punar Bhava Darshanam. There Kunti Maharani is telling, let all the calamities come again and again, because when calamities will come, you will come to save us and we will get your darshan. So therefore, these are the various sentiments of devotees which keep coming, like the various waves. Now she's telling, I'm overwhelmed by troubles. Please come and save us. She says, O Krishna, without your lotus feet, there is no shelter for all of us. Nanyat tvattava padam bojat pashyami sharanam nrinam bibhyata mrityu samsarad ishwarasyapavargikat. She's telling, O Krishna, your lotus feet are my only shelter. They can only take us out of this cycle of birth and death. Please save us. Please show mercy to us. Namah Krishnaya Shuddhaya Brahmane Paramatmane Yogeshwaraya Yogaya Tamaham Sharanam Gata. O Krishna, offer my obeisances unto you, the most pure one, Brahmane, you are the supreme Brahman, you are Paramatma, you are Yogeshwara, you are the protector of your devotees. Please protect me. I have come to your shelter. So in this way, Shukadeva Goswami continued that after meditating on Krishna, Kunti Maharani, she became so much overwhelmed. And Shukadeva Goswami uses a very particular word. He tells, after meditating on Krishna and her family members, your great grandmother Kunti Devi began to cry in grief. Why is using this word, your great grandmother? Prapitamahi, uses the word Prapitamahi. Shukdev Goswami wants to tell, Hare Parikshit, you are so very fortunate. You had such a great lady as your great grandmother. She was so very great. She had such affection for Krishna, and you are so very fortunate. So, in this way, Shukdev Goswami is glorifying just to increase the happiness of Parikshit, so that Parikshit may remember his connection with Kunti Maharani. Bhavatam, he uses the word Bhavatam as a respect, Shukdev Goswami is respecting Parikshit. अरे भवताम प्रपितामही, आपकी परदादी हैं, such respect he is giving. So in this way, Akrura and Vidura, when they heard such heartfelt prayers, they also tried to console Kunti, and they told, "Oh Kunti, you don't worry about your sons. Your sons are not ordinary mortals. They have taken birth from devatas. They are extraordinary. Nobody can affect them. Nobody can harm them." And then in this way, after consoling Kunti, Akrura, he was trying to find out how Dhritarashtra is dealing with Pandavas. In this way, he spent many months there. And before leaving Hastinapur, out of his affection for Dhritarashtra, because the Dhritarashtra, he had affection for his sons, and that's why he was not behaving properly with Pandavas. So Krura, just to give him good advice, he wanted to give some good instructions to Dhritarashtra. He approached the king and he gave the message which Krishna and Balram gave for him. He said, "O my dear son of Vichitravirya, now your elder brother has passed away and now you are sitting on the throne and you are doing your royal duties." Actually, by this statement, Akrura is sarcastically telling, you are not supposed to sit on the throne. This throne belongs to the sons of Pandu, and you have occupied this throne in a wrong way. And then he says, but anyways, now because you have occupied this throne, Act religiously. Follow the principles of dharma. Don't be partial to the sons of your brother. Treat everybody equally. In this way, ultimately, you will attain success. So Akrura is telling Dhritarashtra that okay, now you have already usurped the throne, but at least now you behave properly. Now you follow the dharmic principles. And then he says, but if you do not act properly, if you act in an opposite way, you will never be happy. You will not be happy in this life nor in the next life. So therefore, please remain equipoised. Don't do any partiality. Please take care of the sons of your brothers also properly. The whole problem of Dhritarashtra was he was having excessive attachment for his sons. He was a typical case of a Hridaya Daurbalyam. He knew that my sons are wicked, sinful, evil people. Still, he had such affection for his sons he could not do anything against Duryodhan. There was no lack of good advice. So many people came and gave good advice to Dhritarashtra. Now Akrura came. Then later Vidura keeps telling so many times. Gandhari also tells. Krishna also comes. But still, actually Dhritarashtra himself will tell, all your instructions are very good, but I am not able to follow these instructions. He himself agrees. Krura tells, oh Dhritarashtra, nobody is permanent in this world. You are thinking of your sons. You are doing so much for your sons. Are Duryodhan will not stay for long. Why are you being so very, behaving in such a wrong way? You know, Eka prasuyate jantu, eka eva praliyate, eto eko anubhungte sukritam, eka eva cha dushkritam. Everybody comes alone in this world. Every creature is born alone, dies alone. Eko anubhunkte sukritam. Whatever good activities one has performed, he himself suffers, enjoys the results of that, and he also suffers the result of his bad karma. Nobody else will suffer for him. He will suffer alone. What is happening in this world? In the disguise of the dear dependents, just like the strangers may come and steal the property, just like the offsprings of a fish drinks up the water in which the fish is there. You are thinking of your son. Your son has come in the form of your relative. He will take away everything. That's what Vidura is telling after, just before the battle is about to begin. Vidura also tells, Are Dhritarashtra, this Duryodhan, he is the sin personified. He has come just to take away everything from you. Just throw away this son of yours. In this way he was telling, but still Dhritarashtra, he does not listen. Pushnati yana dharmena swabuddhya tama panditam te akritartham prahinvanti pranaraya sutadayah. O Dhritarashtra, a fool engages in sinful ways just to maintain the family members, maintain wife, children, wealth. He does so many wrong things. But in the end, all these things, they abandon that personality. They leave him and he ultimately becomes frustrated. He's telling that if you don't listen, if you continue to show such favors to your sons, you will be frustrated, you will be destroyed. Please, you know take care of the kingdom properly, take care of the sons of Pandu properly. Otherwise you'll be lost, you'll be frustrated. Such a personality who is just thinking to take care of the family members and he does all the sinful things, you know what will happen to him? He'll be abandoned by the relatives in due course of time. He'll be abandoned by the relatives. He will be destroyed in the ultimate goal. He'll be frustrated. He'll go to hell. So that is the actually this is the ironical story of all the materialist people. Materialistic people, they spend their whole life working and earning money, even by wrong means. But they don't understand that ultimately they'll have to go to hell and suffer for their sinful activities. But although Dhritarashtra heard such wonderful instructions from Vidura, still he did not change. He said, O Master of Charity, I am never satiated hearing your wonderful words. He's glorifying. Oh, such wonderful instruction you have given me. In fact, I have obtained the nectar of gods. But you know what is my problem? Tathapi sunrita saumya ridina sthiyate chale putranuraga vishame vidyut saudamani yatha. He's telling, O Akrura, you know what is my problem? Putra anuraga vishame. Because of the intense affection for my son, all these wonderful instructions which you are giving me, they do not stay in my unsteady mind. Just like the lightning does not stay in the sky, all these wonderful instructions which you are giving me, they are not staying in my mind. And then he says, he tries to justify his actions. He says, after all, everything is ordained by the Supreme Lord. Who can defy the injunctions of the Supreme? That Supreme Lord, he has appeared in the Yadu dynasty to diminish the burden of the earth. What can I do? Somebody may say, if you know all this, why are you behaving in this way? That is what Dhritarashtra is telling. I am helpless. I cannot do anything. Everything is already ordained by the Lord. What can I do? In fact, whatever has happened, it is because of his attachment to his sons. He's not understanding that. One may argue, okay, after all, everything is ordained by the Lord to teach us right things. And Dhritarashtra, he is actually eternal associate of the Lord who has appeared to do all these pastimes with Krishna. But we have to understand that the pastimes of the Lord, they are not just for entertainment. They are not just for hearing and enjoying the narrations. They are there to learn lessons. We have to learn lessons from all these various pastimes. All these personalities, when they are behaving in such a way, we have to learn what we should not do, what we should do. So Dhritarashtra continues. Yo durvimarshpathaya nijmaya yedam shrishtvā gunān vibhajate tadano pravishtaha tasmai namo duravabodha vihara tantra samsara chakra gataye parameshwaraya. He says, that supreme personality of Godhead who creates this universe by his inconceivable energy, he is doing all this. I offer my obeisances unto him. Whatever he is doing is unfathomable. So in this way, he just, you know, rejects all the instructions given by Akrura. So Akrura, after meeting and all the people, all the Yadus, all the Kurus, and ultimately he departs from Mathura and he departs from Hastinapur and reaches Mathura. He reported everything to Krishna and Balram, and in this way he fulfilled his mission for which he had sent. So this is the end of this chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai.